Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Minute. It's your daily show where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate Solo, a Star Wars story, now available on digital and Blu-ray, 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Lacey Gillerand from the Resistance broadcast at StarWarsNewsNet.com.
Welcome back, Lacey.
Thank you.
We are halfway through the week, which means we must be discussing minute 29 of Solo, a Star Wars story. Minute 29 starts off with Rio telling Han that he knows that look, and it ends a minute later with Han looking at Veckett as they make out fireside.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was like, wait, did you say Veckett? And yeah, there's the couple name. There you go.
Yeah, Veckett.
Yeah, right. Val and Beckett and Veckett.
Mm-hmm. You like it?
I do. And
we had Hera before, went with Kira and
Veckett.
Han.
Mm-hmm.
Veckett. We have Rio and Chewie. I guess that would be Chio.
Yeah, well, here, speaking of Rio, I did want to talk about we've had complaints about not people complaining about us complaining about the way that the movie sounds sometimes, the way that the voices are mixed in a way that seem to come out of nowhere if the character's not, necessarily on like the human characters that you see speaking on screen. It's pretty dead on, but then either the stormtroopers and the computer generated characters, their voice seems to just come from nowhere. And here's an exception, because when Rio is front and center, just like taking up the whole frame, sounds fine. So if you're just focused on the character, they're in the center of the screen and they're talking, sounds okay. But then when they're not, I think you got to move the sound. And I know that sounds something. I can totally picture like a sound mixer, a sound engineer working on a movie, and I'm the idiot client who's just like, can you move the sound over to the left? Like, move the sound when you talk. But it just doesn't sound like it's coming from anywhere usually. But here it does. Sounds like it's coming right out of the little guy's mouth. So good work.
I was just reading a biography of Stanley Kubrick, and I guess at a certain point in his career, he wanted all of his movies done in mono. Because he's like, speakers in theaters are just too unreliable. Like, some of them don't work, some of them sound terrible. So, for the sake of controlling it, he just wanted everything in mono so that there would be no, variation from theater to theater.
Right.
Interesting.
I like that. Confronted with the same problem, he and George Lucas had vastly different solutions.
Yeah, that's true. So Rio is questioning Han Solo about his motivations here, and I like when he says, "What is it? Revenge?"
Yeah,
because that is. I of course read it as a callback to the classic novel Han Solo's Revenge.
Oh yeah.
So this is a tip of the fedora to Brian Daley. Is that his name? Brian Daley is the one who did those novels back, the original EU novels.
Although technically those haven't happened yet. Even if they do.
Oh, that's true.
Technically they're legends that haven't happened. Even if they were real, they wouldn't have happened yet.
If they were canon, yeah.
Right.
Do you think this is where Han Solo got the idea of committing to revenge?
So, what was it that guy said once? And then he flashes back to Rio around the campfire. Revenge.
That's it.
Yeah, and I do like that because obviously, Jedi don't seek revenge, but Han Solo, on the other hand,
he's all about it.
Yeah. So Rio also asks. So Han reveals that about the sort of story about Kira, and Rio asks if is she nice? Does she have sharp teeth?
Well, back up for a second, because we do. Okay. Before that, we get an assumption on Val's part that Han Solo is heterosexual, cisgender, etc. It's just like, oh, you're a boy, you like a girl, and it's an assumption on her part, which works for the story because we know that that's true. But unless maybe there was some conversation in between, It's a little presumptuous of Val. So.
Do you think that is the character or the screenwriter who is the to blame?
I mean, it is this kind of a movie. It's that, it's almost trope. It's just, expected, like, oh, of course they're going to bring up and he's got a girl and that's, it's like, it's it's tradition. It's their,
it's the hero gets the girl thing.
Yeah. And they're just kind of, they're playing within that, within that medium, within that kind of framework. And so it's not, it's not necessarily anybody's fault, but it is just an assumption on their part. So it would have been nice to have it not be an assumption, perhaps, or maybe an assumption the wrong way or something like that. But it stuck out to me.
I think earlier in the movie, it's funny, despite the fact that Chewie and Han just took a shower together, that she assumes that they that they are, It's like, what do I have to do to prove to you that?
Well, maybe that was it. That she saw it was like, well, they took a shower together and nothing happened, so he must like girls, I guess.
Oh,
maybe that wasn't the assumption.
I love the idea that Val is watching them in the shower.
Right. She's like the political cartoon guy, like sickos.
Jeez. Or it could be what we said last episode, which was that she really does have feelings for Han and she's doing the I hate you, but is it a girl? Because she's digging. Like, do you have a girlfriend?
Yeah. That old trick.
Like, yeah. What is it? Boyfriend? Cute boyfriend?
Yeah, cute boyfriend, cute boyfriend. That's like one of my favorite lines from TFA, by the way. You have a boyfriend, cute boyfriend.
So yeah, I like this. There's more evidence in the fact that Val is kind of attracted to him, but wants to know. Yeah. So there you go.
She hates him, but does she love him? With all the ships nowadays, I feel like we've missed that boat of the ship of Han and Val.
Right.
Yeah.
What would that be? Hal.
Speaking of Kubrick.
So then Rio asks if she has sharp teeth.
Or Vaughn, which we spent all of last episode talking about Vince Vaughn. So. Yes.
That's why Jon Favreau didn't want them to get together, because then he didn't know anyway. Moving on. Rio and the sharp teeth. I really like that line because it's one of the few times that I think an alien is treated truly as an alien. Like the qualities that Rio would look for in a mate are not necessarily the same things that a human would look for in a mate. And I feel like that is so rarely, like Jabba the Hutt, of course, likes a pretty lady in a bikini, right? Because of course, that's what all aliens would like, a human female naked in a bikini. So I like that we're seeing a sort of different, a different perspective on that.
Yeah.
I feel like creatures and aliens and stuff are like my favorite parts of Star Wars a lot of the time. And I feel like, especially in the sequel trilogy and the newer stuff, we haven't gotten a lot of that. But in Solo, we have so many new creatures to look at, from the poker scene, which we'll get to eventually, or the Sabacc scene. Sorry, people are going to correct me.
The Han Solo card game scene, according to Hasbro.
Card game. But I feel like this movie definitely has so many creatures, and that you're totally right. Like that moment, you're like, wait, why would he? Oh, because that's what he finds attractive. Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. Although Han doesn't answer.
Yeah,
he doesn't comment on
if Kira has sharp teeth or not. I mean, we'll have to take a look later. If hopefully, fingers crossed, he will. Go get a ship and fly back to her, I'm assuming, but maybe we'll find out. He just flies. Cut to. Han Solo in his ship that's totally paid for, with like the sticker still in the window, and he lands on Corellia, and he goes and he finds Kira, and first he just walks right up to her and opens her mouth with his fingers. He just spreads her lips apart to look.
Well, he kissed her at the beginning of the movie, so he must have gone around him.
Right. Unless it's the kind of thing that you just don't notice until somebody points it out. She's like, maybe she does have sharp teeth.
Yeah. I'm more of a fingernails guy personally, so it's
oh no.
Never really noticed the teeth, but yeah, I like that. And I like that Han is shy, doesn't want to reveal the sharpness of Kira's teeth.
Right. Well, he doesn't want Rio kind of getting in on his girl.
Yeah, if that's true. He's like, no, her teeth are totally blunt and not at all sharp.
She doesn't even have teeth.
So yeah, then Han kind of recaps the first half of the movie that, he left a girl behind and he promised he would. Makes me wonder if almost you could not even have the You could do a version of the movie where this is the first time you find out what Han's real kind of goal is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're kind of learning what Chewie's is. You learn what Han, you could. So, I mean, obviously it's different because then when you meet her, it's different. If you had already met her earlier in the movie, it's, so it is probably stronger that they, but it's not like Chewie's family. We never saw them being kidnapped or anything. So, or we never see them being rescued for that matter. Star Wars does not like freeing slaves. That's one thing we learned is that they do not, it's grudgingly that they do that. So,
yeah. I'm trying to think of like cinematically, you could, I guess, have maybe like a recurring flashback or something that you would see, like don't actually show us all that escape from Corellia stuff, but then just have it in a flat, have him kind of going through the gate and, and her getting snatched away and him pounding on the glass as a little flashback whenever. But that's not, flashbacks aren't terribly Star Wars, the language of Star Wars storytelling cinematically. So
True.
We get a little
time jumps. Time jumps have become a thing, at least in the Star Wars stories.
Oh yeah, time jumps forwards.
Yeah, time jumps forward. Rogue One and Star Wars and Han and Solo both had prologues that were set years before.
I thought you were going to start talking about that mystical portal again, and I was gonna walk out.
Does anyone else have anything specific for minute number 29?
Well, I think we've talked about it. You might have mentioned it before when we first met Rio, but here we get to see Rio as the chef of the group.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they threw that in for Jon Favreau, that Rio is the chef.
Oh, a chef.
Jon Favreau,
right,
best known for chef.
Because he has the chef role and then also the chef show on Netflix. Like, he's all about cooking.
Right. And he's interested in the sharpness of Kira's teeth, so maybe he's a swinger too.
Maybe.
Or I thought that was purely like, how sharp are her teeth? Because I'm going to make her a meal that requires tearing and rending of flesh. But it is, like at this point, can you think of a chef in Star Wars who does not have multiple limbs? Who does not have superfluous
oh my gosh. Limbs? I didn't even consider that. Yeah, Dexter.
Mm-hmm. The pancake robot.
And the robot, COO, I forget what it's called.
And then we saw in Book of Boba Fett, we saw another kind of robot chef with multiple arms.
And Chef Gourmand from the holiday special.
Mm-hmm. I can think of two.
Oh.
Aunt Beru.
Aunt Beru, all right.
We do see her in the kitchen. Would you accept some of those Ewoks that were preparing to cook the gang and and
all right, there you go.
Yeah. All right,
two good examples.
Although we don't know, maybe there was a multi-armed Ewok who was the actual chef. So
right, he comes out.
And does Shmi? Is she cooking too when Anakin shows
Shmi. Up? Yeah.
But if we're talking creatures, though, then all the creatures that cook do have multiple arms.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's say professional chefs. Oh no, Rio's not a professional chef though. Here, he's just.
He could be.
We don't know.
He wants to open a cantina, which I think he talks about sometime.
Yeah,
could be.
Speaking of Rio, I looked up some more information about Katie Cartwheel.
Oh, right.
Katie Cartwheel is the circus performer who does the puppetry for Rio there. So she was the on-set Rio.
And that
Pete looks skeptical.
Interesting.
That's not a nickname. That's not like.
Well, I'm guessing it's probably a professional name she uses since she's an acrobat.
Stage name.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been a crazy bit of name determining destiny if she's like, well, name our daughter Katie Cartwheel.
Well, I guess I can't do anything
in the world.
The greatest accountant. Tax season, here I come. Favorite time of the year.
Exactly. She's doing flips. Well, this is not her first Star Wars. Don't be under that impression. She was in, based on the images on her website, it looks like she was in The Force Awakens. She played that red droid that you see walking out of Maz's castle, that kind of tall red droid. I don't know if you remember.
I believe it's HUD 327.
Wow, I tip my nerd fedora to you for pulling that up.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Let me Google it before I'm wrong.
Let's see if you can do this one. She was also one of the caretakers in The Last Jedi.
Oh, the fish nun.
The fish ladies. And so here she is, the first time she's playing like a named character. So I guess that's a bit of a promotion, getting to do a speaking character. But so maybe that's a new, maybe she'll be do that more of that. But she's also pursuing her psychology degree, and according to her website, she's almost there. So good job,
Hurrid 327, HURID 327. So I was a little off. But
Hurrid.
close.
Yeah, that when we saw that
credit.
droid kind of in the teaser, I think, or something, right? When we first saw it.
Where it pans up to the
image
flags with
Yeah.
Maz Kanata, which again is one of the coolest places in Star Wars, and they destroyed it in 2 seconds. And I was like,
Yeah, it was one of the coolest. So.
No.
It can come back. It can come back.
Tales from Maz's Castle.
It
Totally,
was
they
standing
could
for
do
1,000 years, so.
It'll keep going.
1,000 years seems to be, although, wait, I was thinking the Jedi were the guardians of peace and justice for 1,000 generations. That's even longer than 1,000
Yes.
years.
Yeah.
But the Sith were also not seen for 1,000 years. So the Sith were seen right when Maz's Castle was being built. That's a crazy coincidence. Don't you think? Anything else for minute number 29 then?
I loved the quote. I don't know if we talked about this. Everybody needs somebody.
That's true.
I really, really liked that quote from Val because, again, there are these little moments like we saw earlier where it's just reflections of Han Solo with Beckett, where he's like, she's just like, oh, everybody needs somebody, even you. And it just reminds me, like, flash forward to him with Leia in the future after everything with Ben Solo happens. He still needs Leia.
Yeah.
Right.
It is kind of, you could definitely see while they're making out by the fire and Han is staring at them, you could definitely see the kind of, oh, maybe someday. I mean, maybe he's thinking of Kira. Like someday I'll get back together with Kira and we'll have that.
We'll make out by the fire.
Right.
Yeah.
But it does seem sad because, of course, Han and Leia's relationship ends with them, not happily ever after.
Right.
So,
I know.
But
but Val and Beckett, they're they're in love with each other till the end. I mean, every marriage ends in either divorce or death. So. You gotta
everlasting love.
You gotta pick your ending if you want. So
I do want that. I guess I want to work that into the song. Maybe that'll be the song, the name of the song. Again, this song about where everybody's telling the audience what they want here, what they're gonna get out of this, what their motivation is for the heist, what they're gonna use their shares on, but really what they want in life. And then everybody needs somebody could be definitely a part of it. So I'm gonna incorporate that into there.
Sounds like a Nickelback song. Everybody needs somebody.
I'm gonna hang on. Let me scratch that out of here. Undo. Control Z.
I don't know if that's a real song or not, but it just sounds like one to me.
See, I was thinking more Queen. But then we don't want to get too operatic.
That's actually more beautiful, so yeah, go with that.
Right.
Than what I just did.
They already did Flash Gordon, though.
Yeah, well, I can't get them for this. They're booked, apparently. So, but we'll in the style of maybe.
Yeah.
Everybody will kick in their own little bits here.
The Muse, they sound kind of queeny.
The Muse?
The band The Muse?
No, I don't know. Never heard of them.
They did that song Supermassive Black Hole. Anyway, they had that kind of operatic quality. Not quite.
That's on the Twilight soundtrack.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So they're already tested,
right.
board
Think we can
certified.
get it for this?
Probably.
All right.
So Lacey, obviously you're a Solo fan.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what the circumstances were of you seeing Solo? I assume you saw it in the theater.
I did. I saw it in the theater multiple times. I saw it here in Connecticut with my podcast mate, John. That was the first time I saw it. And then the other times I saw it, I think by myself, I just went back and saw it again.
What was your, how many times did you see it?
I think 3 or 4. Pretty sure.
Forgive me for asking, were you old enough to see Phantom Menace in the theaters?
I was pretty young, but yes, I did see it in the movie theater. And when I walked out, I grew up on the original trilogy. I found it when I was in 2nd grade at a grocery store. They had it here in Connecticut. There's one called Stu Leonard's. It's like this dairy farm store. And they had a movie section, and they had the box set where all the videos make Darth Vader's mask. And I asked my parents for it, and they were like, oh, it's Star Wars. And then I fell in love with it from there. So nobody showed it to me. I found it on my own. I kind of like was meant for it.
Wait, you've never seen it? And you just said, can I buy this trilogy in this? And
I said, what is this with the Darth Vader mask? And my dad said, oh, that's Star Wars. I was like 6 or 7. And I was like, okay, I want it. And he was like, all right. Wow. And then it was just kind of, I was hooked from then. It's original trilogy. But so when I went to Phantom Menace, I did love it, but I left the theater going, where's Luke Skywalker? Because I had grown up, liking Luke Skywalker.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, flash forward to an alternate reality where you do like a Lucky Charms podcast, and you've got all different like cereal, because you went down a different aisle of the supermarket.
Right.
You've got all like cereal mascots behind you and stuff like that.
I'm just like super dedicated to cereal. It just kind of happened. And my dad was like, I was like, what is that? And he was like, Lucky Charms. And I was like, I want it. And he was like, okay.
And then here we go. I don't know why we're here. We're doing some kind of
where
Lucky Charms minute.
Well, good. I'm glad you. That's funny how one little thing can alter your destiny like that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's just, I feel like, I don't want to sound lame, but my life has consisted of moments like that where I just happen to be at certain moments. But I'm sure everybody experiences that, where they're like, oh, if I didn't get coffee this day, I wouldn't have seen this person, or if I didn't do this. But it's just like with Star Wars, it's consistently that. Like, I went for jobs after college, and then when I got a job at this place called Reed Exhibitions, I was like, oh, trade shows, cool. And I'm walking down the hallway, and then I realized their company's also Reed Pop that does Star Wars Celebration. And I was like, I'm in the wrong job. And it was like that kind of thing. So like multiple times that's happened to me, or like I met John through a circumstance of something else. It's just life is weird,
Yeah, no argument there. Well, all right. Well, I guess that will wrap up minute number 29. That being said, Lacey, will you come back tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay,
right.
good.
Good.
Well, it's minute 30, so it's a big one. We want to you want to lock that down. So, all right. Well, while we are gearing up to record a minute 30 tomorrow, you can also find us on other podcasts. I do a podcast called Godfather Minute, where my brother and I once a week go through 1 minute of The Godfather, and it's taking us a long time. So there's still plenty of time to catch up. We're in the middle of Godfather 2 at the moment. You can find that at Godfather Minute or wherever you get podcasts. Pete, tell us about your other podcast.
Right now, we're me and a couple of friends, some of whom do Movies by Minutes shows. We're going alphabetically through Star Trek, the original series, all the episodes in alphabetical order, because why not? And that's abcdtos.com. And we are getting close to the end over there. There's only a couple more weeks. I think we're in the T's right now, and there's just U's and V's or U's and W's left or something like that. So
now I know you said you're going to do the movies next. Do those in alphaetical order? Have you guys talked about what?
We're going to take a breather.
Okay.
And see what. We're thinking about doing the movies. I know we've talked about
maybe some other
stuff.
Properties. All right. You should go through the alphabet. Talk about all the letters. Which ones are cool. Order. Yeah, which ones are lame.
Kappa. Got to talk about Kappa. Got to talk about
Frank Kappa. What about you, Lacey? Want to tell people about your podcast?
Yeah, so my podcast is The Resistance Broadcast on StarWarsNewsNet.com. So we podcast twice a week, and we talk about Mondays are news stories, rumors, all different kinds of cool stuff that you see around the Star Wars universe, like updates and whatnot. And then Thursdays are our episodes that are more discussion based. So it's like, if Rio Durant had a girlfriend, who would she be? Just kind of like fun discussion topics about Star Wars. And we make sure to include our listeners and stuff in every show. So it's a good time.
Now I'm wondering if all the multi-armed characters, are they all male or robots? Do we see any multi-armed female characters?
Chef Gourmand.
Oh, yeah, Chef Gourmand.
I mean, technically it's Harvey Korman, but...
yeah. Anyway, so, people should go and check that out.
I thought you were going to get stuck on who Rio's girlfriend should be, because now that was what I was trying to think of. I'm like, well, what is that? Have we seen anybody that would fit that? Who's the female character with the sharpest teeth that we've seen. Yeah.
Cabe.
Could be Cabe.
We don't know if he. Yeah, we don't know if
Darkseid Ray.
Yeah, Dark Ray. There you go. Rio. Oh, I guess I was going to say Rio watched that movie, but he didn't watch that movie. Sorry. Spoilers. He doesn't get to watch any more movies.
Let us know. Who do you think should play Rio's girlfriend? Let us know in the comments below, and join us tomorrow for another Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.